When I started off in business, I would price all the jobs myself. But as you get a lot busier, you're not going to have that time. It's okay at the start because you're kicking things off. You don't have any work at hand. You're just out there putting bids out there, and then as soon as you get busy, a few jobs land, you're going to be on the front line, executing, getting the jobs done, managing the customer, and just day-to-day activities. So as you're growing and you're out, you've got a workforce. You're going to have to keep the jobs rolling to keep everyone in consistency of work. This is where you'll have to hire your own estimator. Now, it is supposed to alleviate your workload, but in fact, for the first X amount of month, and even ongoing, it's going to have the opposite effect. You're going to have to spend a lot of time managing, guiding, instructing, and double checking their work, because as the saying goes, don't expect what you don't inspect. So don't be expecting to get, quality the way you like it, perfect work, if you're not inspecting it as you go. And I've got a story how it can go wrong very badly. So for month and month, I work closely with the estimator, and although I'm from overseas, of course, I'm Irish. English is my first language, but a lot of people coming into the engineering space are from overseas where English is not their first language. So you've got to be patient, and you've got to allow for that. So everything's got to be made very, very clear. And that can be a challenge in itself, because literally any discrepancy along the line can have a huge financial impact. And just one, for example, I'll talk about. In construction, when you're pricing concrete works, you're always talking about cubic meters. When you're talking about earthworks, moving dirt, cut and fill is cubic meters. But when it comes to logistics on the road, you gotta estimate material in tonnage, because you're paying per ton to get it transported. So it's always per ton. So there's a big difference between a cubic meter and a ton. 1 ton is only half a cubic meter, roughly, give or take. 1 cube of dirt is usually 2 ton. So there was a job, and we've had conversation 100 times about cubic meters versus tonnage. You're going to pay per ton for cartage. You're going to pay per ton when you buy it from the quarry. So you can't estimate it in cubic meters, or you're not going to be fit to compare apples with apples. So we've had this. There was one job in particular where I was like, okay, how much per ton is it? And the guy said it's X. It's so much per ton. Now I know how much per ton the logistics is. I know how much per ton we are processing the material. So when he said it was X amount of dollars per ton, I was like, okay, that's a good rate. Go with that rate. Now, I did not double check the spreadsheet. It was only verbal. So I said, have you estimated the drainage? Have you estimated the landscaping? Have you estimated how much per cube the concrete is? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, all's done. Now, my mistake was I did not go through the numbers and double check them, because when we got that job, the job was estimated. It was the dollar figure was the same as he told me, but it wasn't per ton. It was per cube for this material, this pavement material, which meant that the estimate was out. It was half of what I expected, and it was about a $220,000 deficit. So instead of having X amount of dollars per ton for the job, we were losing 50% of that per ton. So it wasn't even covering the cost. So that was disastrous. It was devastating to the company, and literally there's no one to blame. Only I had to take full responsibility, because we come back to the what you can't expect something to be the way you want it if you don't inspect it beforehand. So that's the lesson for me moving forward, especially when it comes to big things like that. You have got to double check every minor detail.